To call Deadpool and Wolverine a success would be an understatement. At the time of filming this, the movie has just passed $1 billion in the global box office, becoming only the second ever R-rated movie to do so. It's also only the second movie of the year to gross $1 billion so far, with another Disney film, Inside Out 2, being the first. The movie has done unbelievably well. It had the fourth biggest opening weekend for a superhero film ever, behind only Endgame, Infinity War, and Spider-Man No Way Home. It's already the highest grossing R-rated film of all time domestically, beating Passion of the Christ,
then me. At least domestically.
That's right, Marvel Jesus has literally dethroned Jesus. And now it also seems like the movie's gonna dethrone Joker as the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. So yeah, the movie is doing pretty well. This is a much needed win for Marvel and marks Marvel Studios' first $1 billion movie since No Way Home. If you want to get super technical here, this is Disney's first MCU movie to reach $1 billion since Avengers Endgame. Similarly to every good MCU project that has come out post Endgame, many people are saying this movie has saved the MCU. I don't know if I completely agree with that, considering the MCU's best movie came out just last year, but it is undeniably doing wonders for the MCU and Disney. I'm honestly still shocked to see the level at which Disney is embracing an R-rated character like Deadpool. Back when they first bought Fox, it was unsure if Deadpool would even have a place in the greater MCU, and now this. Even back when Deadpool 3 was first announced, people were worried it wouldn't be rated R, but it was, and they definitely did not hold back. Except for cocaine. They did not use cocaine.
Want to do some cocaine?
Hey! Cocaine is the one thing that Feige said is off limit.
Then Disney throws Deadpool into Disneyland. What? On top of that, they even have him making very clear jokes for the adults in the crowd with sexual innuendos and everything.
Bully, we should be roommates. Yeah. And so they were roommates. Little Red was the top bunk, and Wolvie was obviously the bottom.
And on top of that, they throw him on stage at D23, their flagship event, to talk about Disney and to even roast themselves. They understand that this character is beloved and an absolute cash cow. Deadpool is now their golden goose in a franchise that hasn't been performing as well as they would like, and that begs to raise a question: what will Deadpool's place in the MCU be from this point on? Spoiler warning for Deadpool and Wolverine right off the bat here. Not sure how deep into spoilers we will get, but you have all been warned. From the second an MCU Deadpool movie was announced, we all begun speculating how Deadpool will end up in the MCU. Will he kill the Fox universe? Will he just wake up one day in the MCU? Will he just say he's been there all along? In a very shocking turn of events, the answer is he won't. By the end of Deadpool and Wolverine, he is still in the Fox X-Men universe, which is now Earth 10005. As of this moment, he is not in the MCU at all. But I do think this will inevitably change. It seems like the whole idea of Avengers Secret Wars is incursions causing universes to collide, and it seems like a very safe bet that the Fox X-Men universe will collide with the MCU at some point. I think this is the main reason we didn't see any of the classic Fox X-Men in Deadpool and Wolverine. I think they're saving them for this movie. You could even make the argument that this has already been set into motion, with Monica Rambeau ending up in some X-Men universe post the Marvels. It isn't totally clear if this is the Fox universe or a different world that just so happens to also have Kelsey Grammer's Beast. To be totally honest, I don't know what to expect. I can see this going either way, but I think there is a solid shot they just call this the Fox X-Men universe. Anyway, we know from Multiverse of Madness that incursions begin when someone from a different universe stays in another world for too long, causing the two planets to collide, killing billions. With Monica stuck on what could be Earth 10005, it seems like the countdown to the inevitable incursion has begun. This would mean a major plot point for the upcoming Avengers movies are tied to what is unfortunately Marvel's biggest flop, so I'm not sure if they will go through with this. Anyway, we're looking way ahead all the way to Avengers Secret Wars, but the point is Deadpool will be in the MCU inevitably, or whatever the MCU looks like at that point, since it could be some sort of reboot. I think throwing Deadpool into Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars is a no-brainer, and I think Hugh Jackman's Wolverine will be right beside him, at least in Secret Wars. He will be donning that gorgeous yellow and blue suit till he's 90 after all. Besides, if Deadpool isn't in Secret Wars, how would we know why Thor was crying? So at the very least, Avengers Secret Wars is a lock to see Deadpool in my mind. So much of his arc in this movie was tied to becoming an Avenger, and his movie made so much money. I fully expect to see Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman front and center of the marketing campaign, right next to Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. God, that movie is going to make an insane amount of money. Looking outside of future big Avengers team-ups, where else can Deadpool wiggle his way into the MCU? Both Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds have stated that Deadpool and Wolverine really is not supposed to be Deadpool 3. It's fully its own team-up movie. I'm not sure what to take from this. I feel like it's more marketing talk than anything else, but it does kind of make sense. All the Deadpool-centric characters that we've come to know and love over the past 8 years were completely sidelined. Hell, Cable, Russell, and Domino didn't show up at all. The ones that did show up were barely used and were more cameos than any of the Void characters that everyone always refers to as cameos. They are the supporting cast, for the record. I mean, Colossus literally gets one line and it's about the British Bake Off. A potential Deadpool 3 or 4, depending on who you ask, would be a great opportunity to tie all these characters in. Looking back at some of the original plans for Deadpool 3, from the way Ryan says it, it makes it sound like up until Hugh called, they were really struggling. He would have meetings with Marvel Studios and they just could not crack down on a story. Of the ideas we've heard, one plan was a very cheap movie of Deadpool and Dopinder just driving around, just a cheap little road trip movie as they find souvenirs and different fun landmarks. Another idea before Disney bought Fox would have it be a Christmas movie with Deadpool having to save Christmas. For the record, if Disney is still doing special presentations or holiday specials, this would be a beautiful thing. Another idea was to have Deadpool pop up in different iconic scenes from the MCU in a deleted scene extravaganza, proving that he was in the MCU the whole time somehow. When looking into Deadpool's future, it is entirely possible that any of these ideas get turned into a movie, but it is clear that there was a lot of ideas thrown at the wall and not a lot stuck. Hugh Jackman calling Ryan Reynolds saying he wants to be Wolverine again may have saved this film and quite possibly saved Deadpool as a franchise. With Reynolds and Jackman teaming up as their iconic characters in a full-on R-rated MCU movie, audience sent a very clear message to Marvel: we want this. I think this could be where the future of the Deadpool franchise lies. Instead of doing solo movies, simply team-ups. We may never get a true Deadpool 3 or 4, depending on who you ask. Deadpool's solo movies may be mostly over, but that does not mean the character of Deadpool has to be. Wade Wilson was just thrown into a multiverse of infinite possibilities with countless characters for him to interact with and so many fourth walls to break. Deadpool and blank could be a whole franchise in and of itself, utilized in order to bring back fan favorite characters from throughout the multiverse, or simply throw Deadpool into the MCU to hang out with those characters. Looking at the MCU multiverse, I think a Deadpool and Spider-Man movie is the most obvious by far. I don't know if Sony would be game for it, but seeing Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool side by side in a movie with Spider-Man, preferably Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, would be a dream come true. This movie would print money. The two do have a lot of team-ups in comics and they are such a fun pair. Having Spider-Man trying to keep Deadpool down to a PG-13 rating would be really fun. I don't think Sony's willing to put Spidey in an R-rated movie, and that would be a really fun way around that. I would love to be wrong. I think there is a chance that by making it Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, they could be a little more lax, but I just can't see an R-rated Spider-Man. I envision Deadpool trying to brutally murder the bad guys while Spider-Man has to stop him. I'm not sure what the plot would be. For some silly reason, Deadpool and Spider-Man have to work together. Maybe they're marooned in a separate universe, or Wade is stuck in the Amazing Spider-Man universe and he's really disappointed he got quote-unquote the worst Spider-Man. Hell, if they really wanted to, they could throw Venom in there. They could even just treat it like it's the Amazing Spider-Man 3, which at this point will never happen, but Deadpool just so happens to be there. That's just one of the hundreds of combinations possible. I personally would really like to see Deadpool and Star-Lord team up. Star-Lord is on Earth, say Deadpool has to team up with an MCU character, he's all excited, then boom, it's just boring old Star-Lord on Earth. Maybe they have to team up in order to find some of the MCU's loose ends that we probably won't ever see again, like Gaia from Secret Invasion, Harry Styles, and Hercules. I have no idea why that would be the plot. It just seems like a fun, wacky meta adventure that those two characters could go on. I'm fully ready to accept that that's a terrible idea, so they could also do literally anything else. I also love the idea of them having a rivalry with Deadpool absolutely hating Star-Lord just because he dropped the first ever MCU F-bomb, beating him by just a year. You could really just grab any character and it's almost guaranteed to be a hit. Grab Hawkeye, throw him and Deadpool together, Deadpool can make fun of him the whole time, throw in some Renner app references, that's a bona fide hit right there. Plus, this would allow us to see Hawkeye in an R-rated movie and we could see what his arrows really do. That's another really interesting thing about this concept. We could take characters that would never see the light of day in an R-rated movie and throw them into one. We will almost definitely never see an R-rated Star-Lord movie or an R-rated Hawkeye movie, but with Deadpool leading the team up, those possibilities begin to exist. Hear me out on this one. Deadpool has the ability to time travel and he's a big Captain America fan. Captain America seemingly hung out for decades in a parallel timeline. You picking up what I'm putting down? Some sort of adaptation of the good, the bad, and the ugly would be incredible. Wade could pop into the 70s of whatever universe Cap is in, pluck him out, and have a whole adventure with him and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. As I'm writing this script, news just broke from a scooper, My Time to Shine Hello, who has gotten a lot wrong, like a lot, especially recently, so take this with a grain of salt. But it seems like Hugh Jackman wants to stick around even post Secret Wars to keep making Deadpool and Wolverine movies. Throw in Captain America, do Deadpool, Wolverine, and Captain America, make it a good, the bad, and the ugly adaptation. That is incredible stuff right there. Hell, it wouldn't even be the first time they worked with Chris Evans. And seemingly Chris Evans had a lot of fun in this movie, so hey. Speaking of re-teaming up with Deadpool and Wolverine's cast, Deadpool and Gambit could be a really solid movie. As much as it pains me to say, it seems unlikely that Channing Tatum's Gambit movie will ever see the light of day. So why not do Deadpool and Gambit? They have great chemistry, fans love the character, and honestly, Channing Tatum's passion for the character is so infectious, I'm ready to fight for him. Seriously, we have to make that a $1 billion movie just to thank them for giving him this this movie. Speaking of a possible Deadpool and Gambit movie, it is completely possible that Deadpool shows up in the MCU X-Men, whatever that looks like. Plug, if you want to know what I'd like to see, there's a video for that. I would not be surprised to see Deadpool at least cameo in an MCU X-Men movie. Not that the X-Men need a little boost from Deadpool or anything, but having an established character pop up does seem like something Marvel Studios would like to do, and Wade does make sense. However, they probably want to distance themselves from the Fox X-Men as much as humanly possible when it gets to that point, understandably so hey. At one point in time, after the release of Deadpool 2, an X-Force film was in the works. Historically, the X-Force is a more militant and lethal group when compared to the X-Men, and this movie was in the works for a while, but was inevitably scrapped after Disney bought Fox. Anyone who's seen Deadpool 2, which I'm guessing is pretty much everyone watching this, knows that they kind of did a backdoor pilot kind of thing in that movie. The movie would have had at the very least Deadpool, Cable, and Domino, with maybe some of the other X-Force members joining. I imagine Peter would have made the cut if no one else. And then getting some new faces in there. I think this team would be a really great place for Deadpool to live for a while. Bring back Cable and Domino, throw in Sunspot or Psylocke, maybe even get Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Yukio to join. Boom, that's a great lineup. Then, in addition to the MCU X-Men, we could have an R-rated, more mature X-Men faction led by some fan-favorite characters. Rather than doing Deadpool solo movies, we would have a way to get Deadpool to interact with any number of characters in a team environment and get some really cool movies out of it. In this world, they really wouldn't even have to bring Deadpool into the MCU. They could just do X-Force movies on their own Earth. If we really do never see Deadpool 3 or 4, depending on who you ask, I think X-Force is the perfect place for this lovely character to live in between big Avengers movies. Like I've said 100 times now, Deadpool and Wolverine will at the very least return in Avengers Secret Wars, if not Doomsday. This provides so much to Marvel Studios, and by so much, I mean money. To see Hugh Jackman's Wolverine up there with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and all the MCU heroes, come on, that alone sells 1 billion tickets. No, not $1 billion, I'm saying 1 billion tickets. Deadpool also gets to interact with the MCU proper in this setting. He did meet Happy Hogan, but I'm talking all of the MCU. Considering the movie will almost definitely be PG-13, there's a lot of fun to be had with Deadpool there. I imagine him building up to his one legally allowed F-bomb all movie, waiting for the perfect time to drop it, and then another character beats him to it. Maybe Samuel L. Jackson, because come on, it's long past time for him to get that. But then Deadpool just loses it and starts tearing through Doombots or something fun like that in an action sequence. Alright, at this point, I'm just writing bad fan fiction. I'll move on. Based on Marvel's last giant event film, Endgame, I would not be surprised to see Wolverine and or Deadpool not make it through this movie. Honestly, I'd be more surprised to see Deadpool die, as I feel like he is Disney's newest golden goose. But by killing them off, the MCU is then able to introduce their own version of these iconic characters. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine has already died so many times, and with him wanting to stick around post-Secret Wars potentially, this could be nothing. And Deadpool sticking around just makes too much sense, I think. At the very least, we have to get the Deadpool death fake-out scene where Thor doesn't realize he can regenerate, and Wade milks it as much as possible to be held by Thor. With all that being said, I do think there is a chance that they don't make it through Secret Wars, and I think that's important to consider. The future of Deadpool in the MCU could just be these Avengers movies. Ryan Reynolds seems to love the character so much that I can't see him wanting to retire until he's 90, but hey, it's important to put it out there, I guess. Looking at all the upcoming MCU projects, I'm trying to see if there's any that I can see Deadpool popping up in, even just for a quick cameo. Of them all, outside of the 2 Avengers movies, there really isn't any projects that make me think, oh yeah, Wade Wilson has to be there, but if I had to pick a few where he has a shot, I would have to say Captain America, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man 4. Again, I don't think we'll see him in any of these, but if I had to pick, those 4 make the most sense to me. Captain America, Brave New World, just because I could see a post-credit scene or something of Wade popping into 616 to tell Sam that there's a threat coming. Cap 4 is said to be giving us a bit of setup for the next Avengers team, and a small cameo or tease would really help tie this phase together. Seeing a character from the last big MCU movie popping up in the next one reminds me of the old Infinity Saga post-credit days, so why not? I think there would be a lot of goodwill there. I just say Thunderbolts asterisk. It's very important you don't forget the asterisks there. It's very important because he has been a member of the Thunderbolts, and again, I could just see a simple post-credit scene at some point. Maybe with him making a joke or something that everyone on the team is the same and they really didn't call him. Fantastic Four is a multiversal project. That's the only reason it's on this list. Maybe there's a moment of them traversing the multiverse before they get to 616 and we see him or something. Again, I truly cannot emphasize this enough. I don't think any of these will happen. This is just kind of trying to make sense of it. Spider-Man 4 would probably be the most likely, just a fun little quick cameo of Wade fanboying over Spider-Man but being unable to remember his name. Rumor has it there is a chance Spider-Man 4 could be set in Battleworld between Doomsday and Secret Wars, so that would make it very likely to see him. Just to sum up my rambling from this video, Avengers Secret War is a lock. I would put actual money on that. Avengers Doomsday I think is very likely, but there is a chance that it's just a 616-centric story. From that point on, I think a potential X-Force spin-off could be where Deadpool shines for a while, but personally I would love to see more team-ups. Something that didn't really come up was the idea of just doing more Deadpool and Wolverine movies, and sure man, why not? Do Deadpool and Wolverine 2, Deadpool and Wolverine 3, I would watch a million of them, and I'm sure a lot of other people would too. But if we want to do other team-ups, just throw Deadpool with a random Marvel character, make it fun as hell, and just profit. He is Marvel Jesus now, and if there's one thing we've learned over the past few weeks, Disney will be utilizing him as much as possible. This video has been a little messy, kind of just hopping around from point to point on Deadpool with no real organization, but I just kind of wanted to yap and give my thoughts. Real quick before I wrap up here, I want to do a little thing in each video where I read off some comments from my most recent video. Before I do that, thank you all so much for the support on last week's video. My hope was for it to reach 1,000 views just at like some point ever in my lifetime. It's currently at 30,000 views, which is just unreal, man. I never would have even guessed that in my wildest dreams, so sincerely thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Anyway, on to just a couple random comments. Dominic Smalley 9394 commented, Magic and Gambit would make one of the coolest team-ups in my opinion. She opens portals as Gambit throws a flurry of cards, and without moving they wipe out an entire crowd of enemies. Or just having them in a fight scene with Gambit's glowing staff and cards exploding and Magic's sorcerer magic flying and soul sword glowing. This idea is so fucking cool, man. This idea is awesome, and it makes me want to see these two on the big screen even more. The potential is just truly unlimited. Robert Trash commented, recently been getting into X-Men because of Deadpool and Wolverine and been wanting to watch X-Men 97. Great video. Thank you, Robert. That really does mean a lot, and I'm really glad to hear you're getting more into X-Men. I genuinely cannot recommend X-Men 97 enough. What an incredible show. It really is one of the MCU's best projects. I fear I'm gonna butcher this next one, but Lucky commented, I think it's important to have 2 or 3 mutants that are visually mutants so that the mutant metaphor works more. I think this is a really good point and something I didn't really consider in my team, but this point makes a really strong case for characters like Nightcrawler, Sunspot, Glob, or even an obscure character like Lifeguard, especially considering the fact Disney literally has unlimited money. Why not? Anyway, thank you all for those comments. That's about it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. It genuinely means the world. I know I keep saying that, but it just really does. This video is scheduled to upload Friday, so if you need me, I will almost definitely be playing the Marvel Fortnite season as we speak. I appreciate you all so much. Feel free to subscribe or like the video or comment, but you watching is more than I can ever ask for, so genuinely no pressure. I have some links in the description if you want to check out my short form content or my ramblings on Twitter. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Hopefully I will see you all soon.